Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Yassin Nacer. I'm the Open Education Librarian at Utah State University.
And I'm Kirsten Cox. I'm the Digital Scholarship Librarian at Utah State University.
And we're very excited to share with you how leveraging technology and bite-sized projects can drive adoption of open educational resources, or OER, at your institution.
Okay, so here's what we'll be covering today. So first we're going to start with our learning objectives for this session and then give some more institutional background before walking through the faculty workshop that we designed titled Transforming Your Course Materials into OER. We'll share how we framed a low barrier approach, connected faculty with our campus technology, including the Innovation Hub, and incorporated hands-on learning. Lastly, we'll just wrap up with our key takeaways and ideas that you can adapt for your own context.
Okay, so for our objectives for this session, first, after this session, you'll be able to identify technologies that can be leveraged to create accessible OER and increase campus buy-in for OER initiatives at your institution. Also, you'll learn outreach strategies that can encourage instructors to turn smaller works, such as slide decks, assignments, lesson plans, things like that, into open educational resources. Okay, so to give a brief overview of the workshop that we conducted, so November 2024, the OER program at USU partnered with the Innovation Hub, two programs that we'll talk a little bit more about later on. But we partnered to host a faculty workshop titled Transforming Your Course Materials into OER. The workshop was aimed at helping instructors reimagine their existing course materials, so their slides and assignments and things like that, as OER, rather than feeling like they had to start from scratch and build like a complete new textbook or courseware for their course. By focusing on a low barrier approach and using technology that was already available to us at the library, we made OER creation a little bit more accessible for faculty. Faculty had the chance to see live demos, explore the Innovation Hub, and begin adapting their own materials during an open work time. The goal was to make the process as hands-on and approachable as possible. Okay, so to give a little bit more context for the OER program here at USU, and first actually by going over just a basic definition of open educational resources. So OER are defined as learning, teaching, and research materials in any format and medium that reside in the public domain or are under copyright that have been released under an open license that permits no cost access, reuse, repurpose, adaptation, and redistribution by others. So that was the UNESCO definition of OER. And USU's OER program is focused on promoting the adoption, adaptation, and creation of these OER by instructors. And that takes a couple different forms. It takes the form of resource finding, so actually helping instructors find OER that they can adopt to teach their courses. Providing grant funding so that faculty can actually create their own OER, technical support, so in terms of publishing and hosting OER, we offer some support to faculty in that way. And then finally, and most importantly, outreach and promotion. So just getting the word out there about OER, letting faculty know that they exist, that they can help their students save money, and that they have a whole host of pedagogical benefits associated with them.
So to give more context and background on the USU Library's Innovation Hub, it's a fairly new space. It just opened up in June of this past summer, so June 2024. The idea for this space was really for it to be an adaptable learning space for any disciplinary, student, staff, or faculty. It's open for everyone. It supports creative exploration and interdisciplinary collaboration, and really just gives patrons a more hands-on experience. We encourage patrons to come in for class or schoolwork, but also just for fun if they want to stop by in between classes and play a game on our VR headsets, they're more than welcome to. Whether they have a personal project where they want to 3D print something, or, like I said, they just want to do something for fun, everyone is welcome. The Innovation Hub has a variety of tech, including podcast booths, 3D printers, VR headsets. We have some sewing machines, a multimedia studio, a digital scholarship lab, which is similar to like a computer lab with specialized softwares and programs, and much more. These resources support everything from multimedia storytelling to prototyping and game development. We host a variety of workshops throughout the year, including things like OER, digital exhibits, utilizing AI, designing in VR, and much more. We're really focusing on partnering with faculty to help us integrate our tools into their curriculum and having them come in and share their knowledge and skills for more learning opportunities for students. So one standout event we did earlier this semester, so back in about January, was a global game jam, which we co-hosted with the computer science department on campus. So students spent the weekend in the library and the Innovation Hub creating playable games from scratch, essentially. We've also partnered with other departments on campus, such as English, art, outdoor product design, data analytics, and even our honors program. Looking ahead, we're exploring opportunities to expand our offerings, including new technologies, increasing our programming, and strengthening our academic integration.
Okay, so to go a little bit into the goals that we had going into creating this workshop. So these were some of the things that us separately, the OER program and the Innovation Hub, things that we really wanted to promote or encourage, some of the goals that we had separately as programs. And so these were some of the goals that went into the workshop that we did. So for the OER program, some of those major goals were we really wanted to lower barriers to OER creation. So that's where the encouraging faculty to create OER out of their existing course material, like their slide decks and things like that. That's where that comes from. We also wanted to promote the benefits of OER to instructors. We gave some background information on what OER are and some of the benefits that they have for students. And then finally, provide instructors with technical skills to create and actually share OER. So some of the skills that they might have felt were, OER creation can be a little intimidating for some faculty. And so we just wanted to give them some of the skills that they needed to actually get their feet wet in OER creation and actually share an OER.
Yeah, and then on the Innovation Hub side of things, one of our big goals was simply just getting faculty and instructors in the door, making them aware of what we have to offer, considering that the Innovation Hub had only been open for a few months at that point, and just providing opportunities for them to test things out, see what there is, if they wanted training or mentoring on anything, and just discuss different ways that they could use the tech in their curriculum. Also just encouraging them and, like I said, promoting that we have these services, they're available for everyone, students, staff, and faculty, and that they are free for anyone to use. So in terms of what we actually did in our workshop, so we started with a short presentation given by myself and Yassin, simply going over, what OER is, why it's important and beneficial, and then diving into Creative Commons and explaining the different licenses that people can choose from and what it would mean if someone wanted to put their work into the public domain. We really emphasize the idea that anything can become OER, highlighting things like podcasts that students could make, or a short rubric educators make, or even just an exit ticket prompt. I think a lot of people think it has to be some fully formed entire lesson or things of that nature, but in reality it doesn't. We then went into a live demonstration of how to choose and create a license. So for this, we just used the Creative Commons license chooser tool. This was very important since it seems like this is one of the hardest aspects for people to do when it comes to making their work open. So after creating a license, we also demonstrated licensing our work, which in this case was our actual presentation that we had created, and what it would look like to actually upload it to OER Commons. And then we asked everyone to try it for themselves and license a piece of their work. So something we highlighted was that your work doesn't need to only be a book or a slideshow to be able to turn it into an OER. This was where we really tied it into our innovation hub, highlighting the tools available to everyone. They could create a podcast and turn that into an OER, or they could design something in Roblox on the virtual reality headsets that we have, and they could license that if they wanted to. I think many people just think of basics like articles, slideshows, worksheets, things like that when it comes to open materials, but we really wanted to emphasize that it can be so much more than that, and it should be. You shouldn't have to pay hundreds of dollars just to make your class more fun and unique. So this was a great collaboration opportunity because the majority of the faculty that attended the workshop hadn't been to the Innovation Hub, and consequently, I've hosted many of their classes in there this past year because of that.
Okay, so just to talk a little bit more about that idea of bite-sized OER and why that was so central to the workshop that we did. So in my experience with running the OER program here at USU, I've noticed that many faculty and instructors find OER creation to be super intimidating. So whether it comes down to not being sure how to navigate licensing issues, so the different Creative Commons licenses, those can be intimidating to some faculty. And a lot of them think it's just easier. I can just adopt a full-on textbook or courseware from one of the major textbook publishers, and then that'll be at the end of it. But what we really wanted to communicate was that it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to create a complete textbook or complete courseware, things that require large investments of time and energy that a lot of faculty just don't have on top of all their teaching and research requirements. So that was sort of the main impetus behind the bite-sized OER idea. And it really dovetails with one of the major ways that people can engage with OER, which is by adapting or remixing OER. So one really common way faculty and instructors can engage with OER is they'll have, say, a lesson plan that they have, and they want to find resources for it. What they can do is they can find little bits and pieces from different open educational resources and bring those all together to make sure that they're really meeting the exact needs that they have for their class. So it doesn't have to be a completely already formed, first day to last day, lesson plan, syllabus, all of that. It can be much more pieced together to really focus on the needs of the students in their actual class. And so another thing with the bite-sized OER is that we really want to have instructors turn their already existing course materials into OER, mostly because that lowers the barrier to entry on OER even more. So, so many faculty will already have a syllabus for an introductory course, or they'll have a question bank or a quiz or something like that that they already have, that they use repeatedly, that they find super valuable. And this is just a way of encouraging OER creation by saying, hey, that test bank that you have that you really like, that can be super useful for other faculty members, other instructors, not just at your institution, but across institutions. And it can really help improve the teaching that instructors engage in and the learning that students engage in. And so the major outreach message that we had when we were doing this workshop as it relates to bite-sized OER is that OER creation does not have to be as hard as you might think. It doesn't have to be a full textbook or courseware. It can be small things that other instructors can then use to build up their own courses from. Okay, so finally, some key takeaways. So first of all, having a clear follow-up plan is essential when engaging with a workshop like this. So OER adoption and creation is a process. It's not a one-off event. And so having a way of following up with instructors or faculty who attended the workshop, ensuring that you're able to offer them whatever help and resources they need to actually follow through and create and implement their OER course materials is going to be super important. Second, make full use of the tech resources that you happen to have at your library. So we're very lucky here at USU. We have, with the Innovation Hub, we have a lot of great tech in the Innovation Hub, but you don't have to have a podcasting booth or VR headset to host a workshop like this. You can leverage whatever tech you have available to promote OER creation amongst faculty and instructors. And then finally, don't silo efforts. We found that reaching beyond our department and working across units, so like the partnership itself between the OER program and the Innovation Hub was sort of reaching across units, greatly expanded our impact, and it gave us insight into some of the resources that we can be leveraging when we're trying to promote OER or when we're trying to promote the Innovation Hub. So those are some of the things that we learned from the workshop that we did.
All right, so that is all we had for you guys. Thanks again for your time and attention. We're always happy to connect and collaborate, so feel free to reach out to either of us if you'd like to talk more about like OER, our Innovation Hub, or just the approach we've taken at USU. And we are looking forward to any questions you all have.